This is Worldview, and thank you for joining us live from our studio in Johannesburg. I'm Yvonne Katsande. As we have consistently reported over the past 20 months, South Africa's political terrain is radicalizing in a ground shift to the left. Labour, political and other formations are realigning and mobilizing in an attempt to push the future economic agenda to the left. Is it from the left and not the centre-right that the ruling African National Congress' biggest challenge will emanate after this year's elections, going forward to the next elections in 2019? It is against this background that the ongoing battles for control over the Congress of the South African trade unions COSATU and to bring stability to the strike-ridden platinum mining sector should be judged. The shift in the political and labour landscape has been long in coming. It is alleged that it was first triggered by Nelson Mandela's policy of reconciliation entailing compromises and concessions in respect of both the public and private sectors, which did not sit well in the Marxist-Leninist elements in the alliance. Later, Thabo Mbeki was considered by the left to have entered into a pact with capital, co-opting the business sector as an ally and adopting neoliberal policies. It led to the Palace Revolt, which brought Jacob to power. Now, joining me in studio tonight to take a look more closely to what we're about to focus on tonight is Katsande Kgabe, an international human rights activist, and Lebogang Makekatlane, a UJ student majoring in political leadership and governance. Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
Okay, so I have just summarized there what is basically happening in South Africa. That is the South African political terrain where we think we are going forward. And like I did clearly say that for the past 20 months, it has been a hot debate in the studio of what is happening to South Africa after 20 years of independence. Now, the ANC will rule for 4 years. And maybe should I say 3 years or 3.5 years right now.
Yeah.
Where do you see South Africa's political and economical future with regards to good governance? I'll start with you, sir.
Yvonne, to be very, very straight to the point, South Africa currently needs and demands the best of governance to be able to champion the country beyond the coming elections. But where we are sitting now, we find the governing party meddling too much into the business sector. Hence, the governance becomes a challenge to the country. We don't have people with integrity, people who can be able to rise above the political positions which they're holding. They're confusing the entire situation because of poor governance that the country is currently facing with. And this affects our political stability as well as our economic stability in the country. It's a very challenge which South Africans are crying for about. And I think it is high time that we start thinking much about how best we can be able to bring back good governance within our governing leaders as well as in our economic sectors.
Lebogang, you are an upcoming future leader, a university student at the UJ. Tell us what you think about this good governance aspect.
The thing is, our government doesn't know what good governance is. They haven't been taught that you have to act a certain way in order to benefit the country. They've been taught for the past 20 years that, okay, we have to put on a face, act like we like everyone, and just pretend that we're helping the people. And that in turn, they use a system of trying to put in ideologies to people and say that, you know, we are doing a good job. And people end up believing that. Because if I'm a poor person, I'm a widow, my husband passed away, I have 5 children, I'm getting grant from the government, I'm going to believe whatever they say. So as long as we get to the people first, and then we can get to where we need to go in life. Because people make the government. That's ultimately what I believe.
Not the other way around.
Okay, but how do you view the ideology that the government, some have suggested that the government seems to have just been spoon-feeding a lot of South African citizens, and yet the South African citizens themselves have not really put enough effort to bring anything on their tables. It's like the government has to give out grants, like you rightly put it. They have to, work out this for the next person. They have to make sure that this one has this one. And if the people don't get that, it's all blame on the government. What is your view on that?
The challenge, Yvonne, is that the program of giving people grants is not sustainable. No government can sustain that by giving people handouts. It's completely wrong. People must be able to do for themselves. There should be some policies, should be some way of encouraging the people to start doing for themselves so they can build the economy together with our government. So this should be very, very clear to whoever is going to take over, that it's getting too out of hand, this issue of issuing out handouts, especially to the poor of the poorest, because it becomes like, they're buying the vote for these people, which is not good for the country going forward.
Okay. Now, what are your thoughts on South Africa having a female president? This is something that we have been debating, that it's possible that in the next election, we might just have a female president standing in.
I would like my daughter to take it up.
Sure.
Well, I'm a female now, so I just want to be clear about that. I'm not biased to anything, but I don't think you can ever put gender to, you cannot put gender as the forefront to bring quality. Whoever can take the job the best should get the job, irrespective if it's a male or a female. It would be awesome to have a female president, but then what if you get a female president, she can't even do the job properly? So you cannot put a face on quality, ultimately. As long as you can get a leader that can build the economy as a whole, then we got a good president. Irrespective of any gender, any race, anything. We should always live to the fact that, quality is quality. Irrespective of how I look like, or what race I am, or whatever happens in my life. If I have the quality to be a great leader, I should be a leader. But unfortunately, that's not happening here in South Africa. It might happen in the next 50 years, to be honest.
That we might actually have a female president only in the next 50 years?
Yes, because you have to change the mindsets of everyone. We haven't changed. Everyone still has the problem of racism. They always like to throw the gun at that. Or they have a problem of this. So if we can just bring the ideology of saying that people are equal, and irrespective of what you have, you should also work as hard as the person next to you, then our country can go to a way forward, because we can't see that right now. We're still thinking the ANC has to be in power, because if they're not in power, all the black people are going to be in trouble. And that's not true. We're way above that, and once South Africans can start to realize that, our country can grow as a whole. The economy needs to grow. I think a lot of people also have to understand the economy makes our country.
Yvonne, my take is very simple. South Africa needs a leader who can be able to sell this country, protect this country from within and outside. I don't buy the issue of a female black president, of a male president. The fact of the matter is we female who are very capable to lead this country forward. But I'm not here for the face. I'm not here for a gender. I need a leader who will take this country out of the quagmire. That's all what I'm here for. Because we start now looking focus as soon as we start talking about a female or a male president. Now people can get their minds now around now to say, come on, whom are we coming with? Then they've dropped, there's a name droppings now. The current chairman of the AU, Katsande Zuma. Then others will be questioning a Zuma and a Zuma. Is this country going to be liable, indebted to one family? And it's not going to sound well to other South Africans.
It will look like a dynasty.
That's the thing. And we should avoid that. South Africa's got no place for that kind of thinking. We need a leader to be able to sustain the economies of this country and make the country does not go through the meltdown economically. Someone who can market outside internationally and within the country and get the support and the buy-in of everyone in the country. That will be my leader.
Okay. Now, moving to one other question that has been on the mouth of almost every South African. After a sustained campaign and mounting calls from opposition members of parliament for the president to answer questions on Nkandla, President Jacob Zuma has flatly denied any personal wrongdoing or obligation to repay the money spent on his KwaZulu-Natal home. Now, opposition parties have made it clear that he should pay back the money. What really is the issue with the Nkandla gate? What is it that is not being said, and what is it that is being said wrong? What is the way forward? Lebogang.
I think
story is stupid. Why are we focusing on Nkandla when we have other issues that are affecting us directly to build our nation? Because it's like, why should they focus on what Jacob Zuma did? Because Jacob Zuma will never admit to anything. No leader. If I was a leader, I wouldn't admit to any wrongdoing or trying to steal the people's money. People also have to understand politics is a game. It's a game of power. So it shouldn't be a thing that we should focus on for the next couple of years saying, oh, when are these people going to pay back the money? When we have people in Americana that don't even have basic living conditions. We have people in Deep Roof that don't even have proper houses and have to they have to get water outside every morning.
So isn't that even more reason for the president to answer how 74 million rands would have just disappeared with no account?
Well, that's the thing, is that we can dwell on why he should answer and stuff. He will answer, obviously, and say all the right noises. But we all know the truth that he did steal the money. That's what I'm going to say. He did steal the money, and the money's gone. It's like something happened, it happened. Let's move on. Even though we were affected, we should look at answers. We should be asking questions like, how is Jacob Zuma going to take us out of this mess instead? Instead of, when are you going to pay back the money? He's not going to pay back the money. So that's why we should be focusing on issues that are at hand and focus on how to build South Africa as a whole, because South Africa is just standing now.
Okay, your thoughts, sir?
The issue of Nkandla, it's one of those unfortunate, scandals the country ever faced. And I think it is high time that our leaders in this country start to respect the rule of law. Thuli Madonsela has simply made an investigation, an inquiry, and he found Jacob Zuma having a hand in this whole thing. Hence, the request was that he should pay a certain amount of money to clear up this mess. But ANC by ANC is not prepared to listen, and they're supporting the Jacob Zuma. And we're going to be going around in circle with this matter until the next term of office. So to me, I think the Nkandla scandal has been so unfortunate, and I think the country needs to move forward beyond that. But you cannot hang on and say, when are you pay, when are you pay? How best can he take us out of this mess that he created for us? This country is now in a mess because of one man. Unfortunately, if you see all these wrong things happening in the country currently, they always emulate whatever this man did, which is wrong. Let's forget about this. Let's concentrate on how do we build our country going forward to ensure that the country is not going through this thing again. But history is going to judge these leaders who are doing this thing to the poor people.
Okay, now, still with the question of some issues that have not yet been resolved, the Marikana tragedy still remains unresolved, like I rightly put it. What should happen? What is your take on that matter?
Falam Commission came out very outrightly and pointed out which institutions, which people have had a hand in this thing. And I'll start with the lawman itself.
The owners of the mine?
Yes, because they are the ones who has caused the country this Marikana thing. The shareholders of the lone mill. Some of them are in the country, and some of them are senior politicians, have caused this thing of Marikana. And they, again, the people have lost lives. And that one cannot be debated. They were killed as they're protesting to get better pay. Now, whose fault is that? Both government, both as well as the business.
What do you think is Vice President Cyril Ramaphosa's responsibility in all this?
If you read at the Falam Commission's his report, despite the fact that he did exonerate him from any wrongdoing, but if you see and hear and read the text, the emails which have been between the lone mill and his office, and subsequent to that, there was this killing, he had a hand. But we are saying, government now started trying to take a shortcut of saying, we're settling, we're paying the people. That's not enough. You cannot pay people.
Compensation money?
No. You can, but then what do you do beyond that?
After they've lost the breadwinners of the family.
Yeah, and look at the place itself. That place, it's like the worst slums ever. Let them take resources, rebuild Marikana people's lives so that those people there can have a better future, have better lives, get educated, get better housing, get resources for them to sustain so they can bury this thing. You cannot just pay one individual an X amount of money. The rest are still living there, but in abject poverty.
Do you want to add on to
All I
Marikana?
want to say is that with the Marikana issue, you have to look at why it happened. It happened because these people, as my dad said, they're living in the worst slums ever. If you check, there's a million documentaries, but no one is talking about those documentaries of how our people, our South African people, our South African children are living every day. So you have to understand that these, in the case, that's why I support Julius Malema on saying that the government did kill these people. We cannot escape that. They were murdered because these people were trying to make a better life for themselves. You cannot, for the past 20 years, work in the most dangerous places to provide wealth for the guy that's sitting in the nice mansion, and you are underground. Like, where is the relationship between that? The reason it happened was that management was not talking to the miners. They decided, you know what, I'm just going to ignore these people. Let's carry on with their lives. They can threaten all they like. There was the emails that happened. The government tried to cover it up with Mr. X, which I think was just a blatant lie. I can also come up with that myself. But what I'm saying is that people should look at why it happened and why can't we build Marikana as a community instead of giving people money. Money ends in like a year for these people. Let's build schools to educate the children of tomorrow. Let's do everything better, because we cannot expect the whole thing always leads up to that. Ultimately, all these kids that are born in Marikana, they're going to work in the mines of London. So why are we capitalizing on our own people? Why can't we capitalize on other countries to make ourselves better? And that's where there's more benefit, actually.
Okay.
And perhaps the handling of this Marikana thing from the police side has also created a lot of instabilities. I am not privy to prejudge the outcome of the current established inquiry into the National Commissioner. But the handling of that situation has had a lot of questions to be answered. From a police perspective, operationally speaking, there were wrongs which were flaunted. Hence, the Commission recommended that certain individuals be put through the inquiry to check. Now, the question that worries us is, until when are we going to cleanse the South African police force
But
to
there's
become
always
more reputable?
Yes.
Because and I'll tell you where the mistake the ruling party did or came up. Did. The ruling party has this thing of deploying the cadres, and the cadres who do not have the necessary expertise or skills to run certain institutions or parastatals. Now, it is a question of them to say, we pay him back, patronage. It's not how it should be, not at the expense of the people of this country. Because we should set a very good example by saying, if Mr. X is a general, he should have came through the ranks of the police force. He should have been at the training program, rose through the ranks and files, become a general who can give a command. He knows what he talks about. But now look at the shooting. Now, who gave the final command?
Who gave the final command? We don't know who gave
No
the final
one.
command?
They don't want to come up clear. No one want to take the blame now. But the massacre took place.
So somebody must have given a command to go ahead.
That's how the semi-military or military or police work. I don't just shoot. There should be a command to say shoot and stop. Now, that was not able to establish because the police force principals were very, very, laconic with the truth at the commission. Were very, did not want to come up very clear.
Okay, I think that will be a full topic
For
another day because
Yes.
it's serious investigation going there.
Yeah.
Now, in a special debate held in the National Assembly, opposition parties tore into the ANC about the failure to detain Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir in South Africa after a court order mandating this. Now, while the institution of the ICC came in for some skepticism from sections of the opposition, there were harsh words for the government's apparent disregard for South Africa's own rule of law. ANC MPs remained defiant in the face of criticism and hinted strongly that South Africa may leave the ICC. I would love to hear opinions in this issue. This is an issue that is still ongoing. It hasn't been resolved. President Omar al-Bashir is still at large.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what exactly is going to happen to him. What are your thoughts? What is your take on that? Your opinion, please.
Okay, I'm going to just start from the root of the problem. The problem we have in South Africa is that our politicians don't want to work together. I'm going to be honest, ANC has a very good quality, one good quality or two. DA has one or two good qualities. EFF has one or two good qualities. But they refuse to work together. They just want to clash with each other every day.
A coalition will be more progressive, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Of course.
economically, actually. If we can put brains together, it's the greatest thing. Instead of always fighting and making our National Assembly look like a joke to the rest of the world. With the matter of al-Bashir, you have to understand that if we lose our stand in the ICC, we are literally alone. We could lose foreign investment because no one's going to trust us with their money. If we are allowing a person of mass murder to come into our country, how are you going to trust that person with your money?
But the African leaders have come together to say that the ICC only targets African leaders.
African leaders.
It seems like they have become the prey of the ICC.
You know, with the matter of the ICC, you have to understand the ICC is basically based in Europe and stuff. They're one of the biggest countries ever. And yes, it's unfortunate that they have, because Africa has a long history line of mass murders, of wars, of economic meltdowns. And we're always going to fall prey to that. But I personally think that ICC should have made it very clear. I think with the matter of al-Bashir, they didn't make it clear. They didn't make it so clear to South Africa to be like, you can take this person apart, you can take this person. Al-Bashir is an intelligent man. I respect him with all my heart. Yes, he did the most horrific things, but he also managed to get away. So them targeting Africa is not the greatest thing ever because they already take so much away from us. Not that I don't want to be partnered with the ICC as South Africa, like as a country. It's just that they should. I think the whole world has built itself on this ideology of capitalism, of, you know, the rich get the power and the poor are just occupants of the world.
Okay.
The issue of al-Bashir, Yvonne, South African government has signed and ratified its membership with the ICC. So the day South Africa withdraws from that court is the day this country is going to be looked very negatively internationally.
But is there any chance, is there any possibility that we might actually, South Africa might actually move away from the ICC?
Based on the covenant which they've signed, it's not going to be easy. And for them to think of getting out of the ICC, to be the worst plan that they should have ever committed for South Africans. The al-Bashir story, the man is wanted to go and appear there for whatever cases he has committed in his own country. It's not targeting of the African leaders. It's the African leaders who are always making the wrongs. You cannot go around doing all these things and get away with murder.
Okay, we have to actually move at speed here because of our time. Now, should King Zwelithini be held accountable for crimes against humanity after his hate speech that caused a spate of violent xenophobic attacks in South Africa in this year of 2015?
I could say partially.
Why partially?
Because we have to know that he said what he said. King Zwelithini, I'm not good at the name though. He has a lot of power. He has a lot of political power.
As the Zulu king?
He's the Zulu king. I don't even know why he has so much power in politics. But then you have to understand that he said it. I can also say a lot of things in the heat of the moment. Maybe he personally felt that. And you have to understand that the king hasn't been educated in the modern way to be like, you have to censor what you say. That's why I say partially. And why that's what disappointed me about my beautiful people of South Africa, is that why are we listening to a king and doing what the king says?
Over a president?
Over a president. Aren't we more modern? Aren't we more educated than we are? Why should I, just because he said, go and kill the people, I have to go and kill people now? These people, okay, South Africa does have a problem of the border control is not the greatest ever. It does work in our favor, and sometimes it doesn't work into our favor, because it then creates a threat within our domestic economy. But then international economy actually helps us, because it builds relationships in a way.
Yes.
When you started killing people, I think that was the lowest point of South Africa. I was disappointed. Why should I listen? Why should a person that has been to at least grade 2 or grade 3 in their lives listen to a king and be like, just because the king said I must go and kill people, I'll go and kill people?
Actually go ahead. So okay, I'm going to have to hold you there because we're running out of time.
Okay.
You wanted to quickly say something?
Yes, the king of the Zulus is the king. His weight is embraced.
The king of the Zulus is the king of the country, or just of the Zulus?
Of the Zuluman dynasty, okay? For whatever he said, and in terms of the tradition, whatever he says, his weight is adhered to. But for him to go and say, let these people go out back to their country, and he can always tell you, I never said they must go and kill the people. I said it.
Well, you denied it.
Yes.
Yes, you said it was misunderstood.
Yes. So you must remember that that place, KwaZulu-Natal, is still traditionally governed, and his subjects listen to him than any other person.
Okay, now quickly, a post-Mandela Africa, what does it look like? An opportunity or a threat?
Both.
Why?
It depends where we want to take it, actually, because it's an opportunity if we can get a government that works together and tries to build what is supposed to be built: the economy, the mines, everything. Like, we experiencing load shedding, and I don't understand why. It's almost like a threat, because now people are like, oh, because the government is acting like this, I have the right to act like this. I have the right to capitalize on the vulnerable.
Okay.
I just have to lie for
Let me
myself.
quickly come in here.
Okay.
Mandela has laid a foundation, very beautiful foundation. Unfortunately, post-Mandela we had Thabo Mbeki, who excelled economically, who excelled in getting this country stabilized. But then there we have got Mr. Zuma, who is taking everything away from the two. Now, what are you saying? Post-Mandela, would we have a future? Or yes, we do have a future, provided South Africans would rise up and identify their best leaders to take Mandela legacy forward.
But I think it also starts with the youth.
I think we have to end here now. We're literally 1 minute before time of closing. Well, thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Now, in our conclusion tonight, clearly the battle for supremacy continues in South Africa's volatile labor, political and environment, with its longer-term potential implications for the political, labor and economic landscapes. For Zuma's ANC, and with the SACP as its passenger, it seems there's only one of two choices. That is, seek a strong alliance with others in the political center or center-right, or take the fight to the left. Now, in other news that we'll be looking at in the weeks to come, is Russia really targeting ISIS with airstrikes in Syria, or is it doing something the United States considers more troubling? Russia stunned the United States on Wednesday by giving it just 1 hour heads up that it was going to pummel ISIS targets. The US aircraft should stay out of the way, it said. And the problem, analysts say, is that Russia doesn't seem to be pounding ISIS targets at all. Instead, they say Russia appears to be attacking rebels to help crush Syrian dissent and bolster Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Either way, Russia's new attacks can have big ramifications, not just for the Syrian crisis, but for the US-led coalition fighting ISIS. Well, thank you for watching. That's all we have time for this evening. Join us again next week as we continue to give you the current update on the world's political and current affairs. Good evening.